Well, we're here today with Chuck Roydhouse, a clean sweep of Anne Arundel County, and I just would love to introduce this man. He has been fabulous for me, great service, and just is a professional through and through. So I'm going to have Chuck take the lead, and I'm going to say, why chimneys, Chuck?
Well, that's a very good question. Thank you for the kind introduction. Chimneys were kind of something that I gravitated to. I have a background in working in the fire service. I grew up in the fire department my entire life, and I worked 25 years as a county firefighter. And my father was a fire chief. So when you're thinking about chimneys, you're usually thinking about fire safety, carbon monoxide poisonings, things like that. I had previously owned a service business in landscaping. So it's very, very similar to any other service business. And I came across somebody I worked with in the fire department had a small chimney company, and he wanted to expand it. And he had seen what I had done with my landscaping business and asked me to help him. And then within a year, he decided he didn't want to continue, so I ended up with the whole business. And then I just decided to really expand it.
Sure.
I sold my landscaping business and got into this. So what really appealed to me is I also have a degree in fire science from Shepherd University in West Virginia. So it was a good way for me to put my practical fire department experience of what happens during home fires, chimney fires, things like that, as well as the science aspect of why do chimney fires occur, how do we prevent them, and that was how I got into the chimney business.
That's awesome. Okay, so how long have you been in the business?
The business has been around since 1978. I've owned it since 1990.
Okay, yeah, that's been a while. So, and what is the biggest misconception that clients have when they call you up and they are scheduling a service for, maybe they're looking to have your service for a home inspection because they're going to buy a home? What things do you hear that you need to kind of talk them through?
The biggest thing is no one ever expects to find a problem.
Oh.
Which when you're on my side of the table, that seems ridiculous, but I'm on a different side.
Right.
So homeowners seem to think chimneys are like the pyramids. They're masonry. The pyramids have been around for 2,000-3,000 years. What could go wrong?
Right.
Right now we're sitting in downtown Annapolis and there's buildings from the 1700s, the 1600s, and they're still standing. Why is my chimney that was built in the 70s such a problem? Well, it's a difference. When you have a home, you have a roof and it overhangs the side of the masonry. So you're really not absorbing any water.
Right.
A chimney is usually freestanding, almost like the Washington Monument. So every time it rains, it snows, it freezes, it thaws, all that water in there soaks into the brickwork. And that is what wreaks havoc in the mid-Atlantic area, because we have rapid temperature changes all the time, even in a 24-hour period.
Yep.
If it's in the middle of February and it rains and it's 42 degrees, tonight it's going to go below freezing. When it freezes, everything expands. The next day it's back up to 37 and sunny, it thaws, and it thaws out and leaves microfractures or microfissures in the brickwork, which now are larger areas for water to be introduced.
Right, so it just keeps getting bigger.
So
and
it's
bigger.
just a snowballing problem.
Right.
The other thing is a lack of maintenance. So there's a national fire code and an international residential code that requires yearly inspections of chimneys. And it's not yearly cleaning, it's inspect, sweep, or clean if needed.
Right.
And the concept is you don't know what's happened over the last year's time period. What did we have? Did we have nor'easters with driving rains? Did we have a lot of snow? Did we have a lot of crazy temperatures? Did a big tree branch whack the chimney? You weren't home, you didn't know what happened. So one of the things that we look for as part of a National Fire Protection Association 211 inspection is not only does it need to be swept, but more important, is there any damage to either the masonry or the wooden structure, or if it's a freestanding metal pipe, the flashing, the crown, the chimney cap, the inside flue liner, the firebox, and this applies for furnaces as well. Okay. Most people don't ever think about a chimney with a furnace.
Right.
They think the oil man or the gas man takes care of it, and they don't. The oil and gas man will actually work on the furnace unit. So if you think of your furnace as a car motor, you have a mechanic that works on your motor. I'm the guy who is the exhaust pipe. I'm Mr. Midas. So the mechanic never looks at your exhaust pipe, never replaces it, never tests it, never cleans it out. That's what we do. And because we're emitting superheated gases or noxious vapors, carbon monoxide, sulfur, things like that, formaldehyde, all the byproducts of whatever you're burning, be it coal, wood, pellet, oil, or gas, that needs to get to the outside as fast as possible. And when it doesn't, you can have overheating in the wall structure, you can have noxious vapors come into the home, and they can overcome you.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's crazy. And we don't think about those things, so that's great. And it's so nice that you cover all of that,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and just keep that and help us keep that top of mind as we, you know, the longer you own the home, the more important it is to take care of your chimney that way. And I just
Sure.
never even thought of that. So tell us what makes you stand above the competition other than your intense knowledge, which is just so impressive. I love that.
So one of the things that I would say foremost is we're always thinking about what's in the best interest of our client.
Mhm.
When you call our office, we're going to give you a mini interview, and it's not to find a weak spot, it's to find out what you really need to have as a service so we can best deliver and meet your expectations. So you have to have some give and take. Most people don't wake up on a Wednesday and say, gee, I'm going to call and get my chimney checked out. There's usually an underlying reason. Either that maybe they hurt a bird in it, maybe they had a chimney fire, maybe they're selling their home and they're required to get it checked out. Those are all the things we need to know so we can figure out, okay, what exactly is the service that you're looking for? We have also, all of our technicians are nationally licensed and certified through the Chimney Safety Institute of America and the National Fireplace Institute. There's a specialty license that you have to work on gas, so we have that as well. Very few people do.
I remember that about you. I think
Yeah.
that's great too, and that is such a valuable service because so many homes around here have the gas stoves or the gas fireplaces.
Absolutely.
So, yep.
Yeah, that seems to be the trend of the last 10 years.
Mhm.
People are moving to it. I think it has to do with two things. I think it has to do with generational changes. People don't have time to either work
Right.
with the wood or they don't have an interest in it. They're working so much, they come home, they want to hit a remote, which they have now, just like a television set,
Right, exactly.
and the fire comes on, they have instant gratification. They're very efficient, they're clean burning. You get about 80 to 90% of the heat being pushed into the home,
That's
as
pretty incredible.
opposed to the rest of 80% going up the chimney with a traditional wood burning fireplace. And if you get tired during the 10 o'clock news, you hit a button and you turn it off
Right.
and you go to bed.
And your house doesn't smell like smoke.
And then nothing smells like smoke. The other thing, because it's a sealed unit, if you have, young people in your home with asthma or older people, it doesn't affect them because you're not pulling any air out of the home and you're not putting any exhaust into the home.
Right. That's great. Okay, good. And then tell me what you think when you get your service calls, what seems to be the most predominant call that you get?
Most of the people are calling to have their chimney inspected for a specific reason, or they are having a problem. And the problem is usually something like maybe it's smoking, or their carbon monoxide detectors are going off, or they're changing out a water heater, and they've now found out anytime you change out an appliance, you have to have a level 2 inspection done of the flue liner. And that's just now starting to get the word out and being enforced. It's been the standard of the industry for 20 plus years. Just like having your chimney inspected on a yearly basis has been that way since probably 1985. But the word is not out there. And because there are no chimney police, regular people don't know about it.
Well, that's good to know.
Yeah.
No chimney, please. Whew. All right, and my last question is, I know that you have an amazing heart for children and for people. And I know that you have a charity that you're involved with, and I would love for you to share that with us.
Well, actually, we have two.
Oh, I didn't know
So locally, I'm involved with supporting the Anne Arundel County Professional Firefighters Burn Foundation.
that. Okay.
That is something, as you said, that's near and dear to me because being in the fire service my entire life and everyone in my family, I've seen the tragedy of when people get burned and how they have that long road of recovery, and it's especially hard when it's a child.
Oh, yeah.
So the International Association of Professional Firefighters started these things called burn camps, and they set them up locally, and we have them here in Anne Arundel County. And once a year, we'll take children and young adults that have been burned or disfigured, and maybe they're not comfortable going to a regular kids camp, or maybe they're not physically able to. We set up a summer camp for a week and we work with them, and we volunteer. The off-duty and retired firefighters volunteer their time to work with the kids. So that's one of the things that my company supports as far as in donations and time.
That's neat.
The second thing we do is I'm involved with a national organization called Sweep Away Cancer.
Oh,
So
I know.
cancer
Okay.
is very, very prevalent in the two industries I work for.
Sure.
It's very high in the firefighter trade and very high in the chimney technician trade. So we started a foundation, and we raised money through rallies and selling t-shirts and things like that. And 99% of the money goes to the person who was afflicted.
That's neat.
We are underwritten by a national chimney supply company that handles the small incidental costs that we have.
Right.
We are required to pay some taxes. We have to have an accountant and a CPA for that. Other than that, every part of the money is given to who needs it. So we'll have people in the chimney industry or their family, friends, relatives will have some kind of a cancer event. They'll fill out a form. You can go to sweepawaycancer.com. You fill out a form, you nominate someone, it goes to a committee, we review it, and we can award them up to $5,000. And it's a very liberal award where it could be that you need groceries, maybe you need help with medical expenses, maybe it's some kind of an insurance coverage. Or I was the treasurer. I'm now the secretary. When I was treasurer, I would write checks for people's mortgages, things like that, to really give them some relief.
Right.
And the letters that we would get back from people would almost put a tear in your eye, saying, you don't know how much it meant that I didn't have to pay a mortgage last month, and that peace of mind. So that's something that's really nice to be involved in.
That's awesome. What a great cause. I love that. And that one I didn't know. So thank you for sharing that with us. And then the last is wrap it up, and let's have you tell everybody how they can get in touch with you.
Sure. Well, our company is Clean Sweep Anne Arundel Chimney. You can find us at cleansweepaa.com. Our local phone number is 410-590-4800. We're open 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. And you can also fill out questionnaires online if you don't have the time to talk to us during the day, and we'll communicate with you through email or any other form that you like.
Right.
We also have a Facebook page.
Great. Well, thank you so much.